As we approach the end of the year, all eyes are glued on what 2025 holds for the market. We're joined today by Cristina Ulang, Head of Research of First Metro Investment Corp, to help us understand how the market moved this year and what it means to your investments in the future. Hi, Cristina. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Mai.
Good
Happy
morning.
New Year na.
Yes, Happy New Year to you. Now, today is the last day of trading at the PSE, and we have this so-called Santa Claus rally where we see some buying action. At what level do you see the index ending the day today?
Oh, maybe 2% from the start of the year. We started at 6,450 and 2023, and we are likely to end this year maybe 6,580, 6,600, or 2% higher than last year. At least we're not down. We're not below the previous year.
Yeah, why do you say so, Cristina?
Well, this is a seasonally strong period, usually, but we have all of this noise coming from the US. The Trump administration is going to be inaugurated and saying all of this strong dollar policy and all the tariffs. These are all downers for the market. It's dragging sentiment, but the season is usually very strong in history, looking back, excluding all of this noise coming from the US. And hopefully, there should be some remnant of that, some optimism going into 2025, because there are really a lot of growth drivers for the economy and a lot of catalysts for the market going into 2025. So a bit of that should filter through the market today and going into 2025 New Year, early weeks of next year.
Yes. So who do you think are the biggest winners and losers for the PSE and all stocks?
Yes, okay. Of course, the banks are the biggest winners. Number 3, price gainer and winner for this year was Metro Bank, 48%. And of course, above that would be your ICT and of course Converge, because of the fintech space, because of the interconnectivity that we're experiencing, AI, the need for more data center, and of course global trade for ICT.
Right. So the new year is coming in a few days. What are your expectations for the Philippine Stock Exchange?
We are going to have an election year next year, and we know that election year usually brings additional growth. That's about 1% to 1.5% additional incremental GDP. So if we're going to be like looking back, if we achieve like a 5.8% to 6% growth this year, then next year we will have an increment of at least 1% or 1.5. So that's going to be a catalyst for the corporate earnings. And our corporate earnings, we're projecting like to remain double digit, a little bit above 10%, maybe 13% or 14%, but on an accelerating mode. I think that's the key thing. Acceleration of corporate earnings next year, knowing that inflation is going to be moving lower, staying within the target of 2 to 4%, at least within the target of 2 to 4%, which will enable the BSP to cut interest rates and then boost the liquidity within the system, because we're just growing. Our money supply M3 is just growing at 5.5 when we used to grow like 11.5%. So if the BSP cuts the triple R and then cuts the key rate to maybe 5% towards year end of 2025, then we will have more liquidity. That's going to be another catalyst for the market.
Right. So what's your estimate range for the index?
Looking back, we should always reference to the time when we had the rate cutting. In 2019, we had an upside of up to 8,000 level for the PSA. But the big but is that there is these tariffs being imposed, likely to be imposed, and that's inflationary. It's going to keep inflation higher in the US, the rest of the world also, and bond yields is going to be a bit elevated, lower, not much lower as earlier expected, because the rate cutting is going to be a bit slow, in no rush, and very careful. So I think that's going to be the tempering factor for the upside of the PSA. We may not hit 8,000, but we may achieve like a because we've gone down to like 6,500, so we may be returning back to above 7,000.
Yes.
If all of this rate cutting happens, our inflation stays within the target, and hopefully the big hope is that the US and China comes to an agreement that is going to be more amicable and not really going towards the worst scenario of a trade war. So I'm just hoping that they come to a very amicable settlement when it comes to the tariffs and all of these trade barriers that they are thinking about.
Yeah, so speaking of tariffs, what do you think are the triggers that could make the PSE index volatile?
I think we have to also monitor the currency. So aside from the inflation and aside from the rate cutting cycle, we have to look at the currency because the market is not used to a weak currency, and that's been proven in the past that every time we have this big rally, you look at the peso, it's really on the strong side, like 52 on the dollar, 51 pesos on the dollar. But we're far away from that. We are now at 58, 59, and that I think is worth monitoring because it's a leading indicator of where the market is going.
Yes.
So let's monitor that.
Well, at this point, when stock prices are low, what are your top 3 stock picks and why?
Of course, this is just my opinion. This is for information only, and this is not investment advice. But be overweight the banks because the banks are going to benefit from increase in loan growth, and then the loan spread is going to be is still very robust and wide because bond yields are not going to come down very fast. They're going to come down, but they're not going to come down very fast. So that's going to be beneficial for the banks. Second, overweight also the power sector because we are transitioning from fossil fuel to renewable, and many companies are now putting up a lot of capacity in the renewable space. We have Meralco, of course, and of course the Ayala Group, ASEN. But as far as the banking is concerned, be overweight among the top 3 banks: Metrobank, BDO, and BPI. And of course, gold is one asset class that's going to really be a good pick. We have two gold issues in the local market, and you know who those 2 are.
Okay, well, with regards to the markets, will it strengthen or weaken?
Sorry again, sorry. Will it?
The markets, do you see it strengthening or weakening?
Strengthening, of course. I think the market participants would like to see an upbeat result towards year-end. It may not be big. We don't have the Santa Claus rally, but I think we're going to be ending the year higher than where we began, which was 6,450. So we will be ending the year 6,600, or maybe even better.
Yeah. Well, final question before I let you go, Cristina. How do you see Trump's presidency affecting the Philippine markets or the economy?
Well, you know, the context is always a strategic competition between China and the US. And in that competition, there is always your bargaining chip, different tactics being employed to extract the biggest concession from each side. And I think the negotiating table is going to be very much active. Next year, Trump is going to be very assertive in his anti-China stance. He is going to be like imposing tariff, as he said, 60%, triple, and that's going to maybe come in waves until 2026. So I'm just praying that they come to a softer stance with regard to their negotiation. They may reach an agreement and it doesn't become very aggressive and to the detriment of the rest of the world. So that's my big prayer for 2025.
Thanks for your insights. Wishing you the season's best and a prosperous 2025, Cristina.
Same to you, Mai. Bye-bye.
Cristina Ulang of First Metro Investment.